The stars above Earth were calm, but something terrible was coming. High in orbit, a ship so massive it blocked out the sun approached silently. It was a Velaran dreadnought, sleek, silver, and larger than anything Earth had ever seen. Its arrival wasn't quiet for long. A thunderous transmission echoed across every communication channel, from military satellites to civilian phones. The voice was deep and cold, translated perfectly into English. "This is the Velaran Empire. You will surrender. Resistance is not permitted. You have 3 days." Across Earth, people stared up at the sky in fear. News channels flashed red alerts. Scientists confirmed it wasn't a drill. Earth was no longer alone, and the visitor was no friend. The Velaran Empire had arrived, and they had come not in peace but in dominance. The dreadnought didn't fire. Not yet. It didn't need to. Its presence was enough to remind humanity how small and unprepared it truly was. Earth's combined space forces barely had enough firepower to defend the moon. Their outdated cruisers and orbital defense platforms were no match for a single Velaran ship, let alone an entire empire. Global leaders gathered in emergency summits, their faces pale, their voices hushed. Nations that once argued now sat side by side, united in fear. There were no good options. Open war would mean extinction. Surrender meant slavery. But while the world panicked and politicians debated, deep within the quiet hills of northern Canada, a man long thought retired sat alone in a wooden cabin, watching the stars with a quiet, knowing expression. His name was Admiral Elias Rain, once Earth's most brilliant naval commander, now just a forgotten hero living off-grid. He hadn't worn a uniform in over a decade, but something in his bones told him this day would come. As the world buzzed with fear, Rain's old communicator, a dusty device buried under maps and memories, came to life for the first time in 12 years. A red light blinked slowly. A message flashed across the screen. Protocol eclipse. Confirm. Identity. His heart skipped. He hadn't heard those words in over a decade. Slowly, he typed in his old command code. The device paused, then beeped. A new message appeared. The Black Fleet is awakening. Your command is required. For a moment, Rain simply stared. The Black Fleet, it was supposed to be a myth. Even among high-ranking officers, it was only whispered about. A ghost story from the early days of alien contact. Back then, long before the Velarans revealed themselves, Earth's leaders had feared that not all species would come in peace. A secret project had been created under the cover of deep space exploration. A hidden fleet, built in the farthest reaches of the solar system, away from prying eyes. Ships crafted in silence, powered by experimental tech, cloaked and armed, with weapons banned by every treaty. They were never meant to be used, but they were humanity's final card, its silent shield in case the stars turned hostile. And now the time had come. Rain stood up slowly, grabbed the black case from under his bed and opened it. Inside was a small, polished badge, a silver raven across a dark starfield, the emblem of the Black Fleet. He hadn't seen it in years. He placed it on his chest and the device on the table beeped again. A map appeared, showing a flight path to a hidden launch site deep in the Arctic. As he prepared to leave, the sky above Earth shimmered. More Velaran ships began to arrive, surrounding the planet like a net. Their message didn't change, but their tone grew colder. 1 day remaining. Across Earth, riots broke out. People prayed, others protested. Hope was fading fast. But in the cold silence of space, far beyond the moon's orbit, something stirred. A hidden asteroid base, cloaked in black, powered up for the first time in years. Giant steel doors opened slowly, revealing hangars the size of cities. And inside them, sleek warships, dark, silent, and shaped like blades, began to glow with life. Each ship bore no flag, no name, only a single mark, a black raven. A soft, mechanical voice echoed through the halls of the station. Fleet status, dormant. Command authority detected, awakening systems. One by one, the ships began to hum. AI cores blinked to life. Weapon systems charged. Engines that had not burned in decades flickered with silent flame. The Black Fleet was no longer asleep. It had been waiting. And now, with Elias Rain on his way to command, and the Valaran Empire closing in, Earth's greatest secret prepared to rise. No one on Earth had seen these ships before, not even the current government. But soon, the world, and the galaxy, would know. Earth would not surrender quietly. Something ancient and deadly had been awakened, and the stars were about to learn what humanity truly was. The journey to the hidden asteroid base was long and shrouded in silence. The cold void of space stretching endlessly around Admiral Elias Rain's small command shuttle as it slipped through the Kuiper Belt's icy expanse. This was humanity's most guarded secret, a place so remote and concealed that few even believed it existed. The asteroid, massive and pocked with craters, was disguised by advanced cloaking technology, making it invisible to Valaran sensors and most Earth satellites alike. As Rain's shuttle approached, he felt a heavy weight settle over him, the weight of history, of long-forgotten decisions and of responsibility that had been passed to him once again. Inside the base, carved deep into the heart of the asteroid, lay vast caverns of cold steel and rock. The walls hummed with the power of dormant machines, and the air smelled faintly of oil and ozone. Here, far from Earth's turmoil, humanity's last hope waited. The Black Fleet was no myth. It was real, and it was more terrifying and beautiful than anyone could imagine. The ships, dark and angular, sat in silent rows within enormous hangars. Their hulls gleamed black as obsidian, designed to absorb light and confuse enemy sensors. Each ship was a masterpiece of secret technology. AI systems far beyond anything public knowledge, weapons that could disable entire fleets, engines capable of bending space in ways still not fully understood. These were not just ships. They were living weapons, built to protect humanity from a threat no one else could face. As Rain disembarked and made his way through the labyrinthine corridors, memories flooded him, of a time when Earth was hopeful, reaching out to the stars in peace, unaware of the darkness lurking beyond. But peace was a fragile dream. The Black Fleet had been created for survival, a silent guardian ready to awaken when all else failed. At the heart of the base stood the flagship, the NXS Revenant, a colossal vessel that dwarfed everything around it. Its sleek black hull was marked only by the symbol of a raven in flight, a reminder of the fleet's deadly purpose. Rain stepped aboard, the deck beneath his feet cold and metallic. In the bridge, rows of consoles flickered to life as he activated the ship's core systems. Then came the moment that sent a shiver through him. The AI known as Nyx stirred from her slumber. Her voice was calm, almost melodic, yet filled with the quiet power of a machine that had waited patiently for decades. "Admiral Rain, welcome back. All systems nominal. Fleet status awakening." Nyx's presence was more than just software. She was the mind of the Revenant, capable of independent thought, strategy, and even empathy. She had been designed to think like a human, but with the precision of a machine. Together, they began the process of reactivating the fleet. One by one, the other warships' AIs blinked awake, and the hangars hummed with renewed energy. But the fleet was more than just ships and machines. Deep within the base were the cryo chambers where the original captains and crew of the Black Fleet lay in suspended animation. These were the best warriors Earth had ever known, humans who had volunteered to sleep through the darkness of space, to be awakened only when their skills were desperately needed. Rain visited the chambers, watching as the cryopods hissed open, releasing men and women who had not seen the light of day in decades. Among them were tacticians, engineers, and fighters hardened by war. Their eyes, when they opened, held a mix of confusion, determination, and the knowledge that their fight was far from over. Even more surprising was the presence of a former alien defector, a Valaran who had turned against his empire and sought refuge with Earth years ago. His knowledge of Valaran technology and tactics would prove invaluable in the battles ahead. The awakening of these captains was not without tension. Some questioned whether humanity could truly stand against the Valaran Empire. Others feared the cost of using weapons deemed too dangerous for peace. Yet, united by necessity, they embraced their duty. The Black Fleet began to stir like a great beast rousing from slumber, engines powering up with a low, thunderous hum that vibrated through the asteroid itself. Weapons systems calibrated, shields flickered into existence, and stealth technology activated, making the ships nearly invisible to outside detection. Every crew member ran drills and simulations, preparing for the moment when they would face the Valaran Armada in battle. The atmosphere was tense but resolute. No one doubted the stakes. Back on Earth, news of the fleet's reactivation leaked in whispers among the highest levels of government and military. Many were skeptical. Was this an old legend? Or could these ships really change humanity's fate? The answer would come soon enough. Meanwhile, Nix and the captains worked tirelessly, sharing data and refining strategies. The Black Fleet was more than a weapon. It was a symbol, a sign that Earth was not helpless. The past had prepared them for this moment, and now they would show the galaxy the true strength of humanity. As the final systems came online, a message was sent across secure channels to all fleet members: prepare for deployment. The Empire's deadline approaches. In the silence that followed, Rain stood on the bridge of the Revenant, looking out into the cold darkness of space. The stars seemed to watch silently, as if waiting for the story of humanity's survival to unfold. The Black Fleet was no longer a secret. It was a promise that Earth would fight, not just to survive, but to reclaim its place among the stars. The battle was coming, and the ghosts of steel were ready to awaken. The Valaran Empire was not known for mercy, and their first strike on Earth was meant to show the galaxy exactly why. As the deadline approached, massive warships gathered in formation near Earth's orbit, their dark hulls reflecting distant starlight with cold precision. Then, without warning, a single Valaran battle group launched a devastating assault on one of Earth's largest space stations, a hub that controlled much of the planet's satellite network and defense systems. The explosion was visible even from the surface, a bright flash followed by a spreading cloud of debris that slowly drifted away in silent, deadly arcs. Cities across Earth went on high alert as news of the station's destruction spread rapidly. People rushed to shelters, emergency broadcasts urged calm, and the planet braced itself for what many feared would be the beginning of total war. Yet amid the fear, something unexpected stirred. Just as the Valaran cruisers moved to seize key orbital platforms and satellite arrays, their sensors picked up a strange phenomenon: dozens of black warships suddenly appearing from the darkness of space, their shapes sharp and unfamiliar, moving with a silent speed that defied detection. These were no ordinary vessels. They were the long-hidden Black Fleet, awakened from their secret base to protect a world that had been left vulnerable for too long. Leading this shadowy armada was the flagship NXS Revenant, commanded by Admiral Elias Rain, whose calm determination radiated through the fleet's communication lines. The Valaran commanders, confident in their overwhelming superiority, were caught off guard as the Black Fleet executed a surprise ambush unlike anything in recorded history. Using advanced cloaking and electronic warfare technology, the Black Fleet slipped through the enemy's sensor grid, striking with precision that was both elegant and deadly. Within moments, key Valaran cruisers found their engines disabled and their weapon systems crippled by silent pinpoint attacks. The Valaran warships, designed to intimidate and destroy, were suddenly vulnerable and confused, their once fluid formation breaking apart under the pressure of this ghostly assault. As the battle raged, Earth's military satellites captured every moment, broadcasting live across every network on the planet. For the first time, humanity saw its protectors in action, not as distant legends but as powerful, unyielding warriors. The sight of the Black Fleet striking back with such force ignited hope and pride in the hearts of millions. On the bridge of the Revenant, Admiral Rain coordinated the attack with calm precision, his voice steady as he guided his captains through the chaos. The AI Nix provided real-time data and analysis, ensuring each move was calculated to maximize damage while minimizing risk. Other captains, awakened from decades of sleep, demonstrated their skill and courage, piloting their ships with grace and determination. The battle was not just about firepower. It was a dance of tactics, deception, and timing. Meanwhile, far beyond Earth, the message of humanity's resistance spread quickly. Alien worlds still under Valaran control watched in silence as the seemingly weak human race defied their oppressors with a strength that few expected. Whispers of rebellion began to spread among subjugated species, inspired by Earth's bold stand. The Valaran Empire, once believed unstoppable, now faced a new problem. A human fleet that fought not only for survival but for freedom, using every secret weapon at their disposal. As the first battle concluded, the Valaran retreat was clear. Though battered, their forces withdrew, nursing wounds and reconsidering the threat humanity now posed. Earth's orbit was scarred but held, its defenses bolstered by the Black Fleet's presence. For the people below, it was a moment of triumph, a first step toward reclaiming their place among the stars. Yet both sides knew this was only the beginning. The Valaran Empire would not forget this day, and neither would humanity. The war for Earth's future had begun in earnest, and the galaxy was watching. The Valaran Empire was furious. Their pride was wounded by the Black Fleet's surprise attack, and they responded swiftly, dispatching a powerful battle group with one clear mission: hunt down and destroy the hidden human armada. But Admiral Elias Rain understood that meeting the Valarans head-on was a fight Earth could not win. Their fleet was smaller, and their resources limited. Instead, Rain and the fleet's AI commanders, led by Nyx, shifted tactics to a shadow. War designed a battle fought in darkness and silence rather than blazing fire and explosions. The Black Fleet became ghosts of the void, striking without warning and disappearing before the enemy could react. They targeted Valaran supply lines, cutting off fuel and ammunition from the front lines. They collapsed key wormhole gates used by the Valarans to travel vast distances quickly, forcing the enemy to reroute and lose precious time. Misinformation was spread through secret channels, confusing the Valaran commanders and causing distrust within their own ranks. Across the galaxy, rumors of human defiance spread like wildfire. The stories of Earth's shadow warriors reached even the farthest corners of the Valaran-controlled worlds, inspiring hope among the oppressed. Meanwhile, back on Earth, something extraordinary was happening. The fear and division that had plagued humanity for centuries began to fade, replaced by a growing unity born from shared struggle and hope. Citizens volunteered for support roles. Scientists worked around the clock to improve technology, and leaders set aside old rivalries to focus on survival and freedom. In the midst of this rising tide of hope, the Black Fleet planned a daring operation, a mission to steal the Valaran hyperspace codes that controlled the enemy's travel routes. These codes were guarded heavily, stored in a floating fortress orbiting a gas giant. The mission was dangerous, requiring stealth, speed, and absolute precision. A small team of the fleet's best operatives, led by a former alien defector who had intimate knowledge of Valaran security, infiltrated the fortress under cover of darkness. They moved like shadows, bypassing patrols and electronic sensors with skill born of desperation and training. The tension was unbearable, as every step could mean discovery and death, but the team succeeded, capturing the codes and escaping before alarms could fully sound. This heist became a turning point, allowing the Black Fleet to anticipate Valaran movements and strike deeper into their operations. Yet not all was secure. A traitor lurked within Earth's ranks, feeding information to the Valarans. This betrayal nearly unraveled months of planning, threatening to expose hidden bases and endanger countless lives. Only through the sharp instincts of Nyx and the vigilance of Admiral Rain was the traitor discovered and stopped before irreversible damage could occur. The betrayal was a bitter reminder that war was fought not just in space, but in the minds and hearts of those involved. In one of their boldest moves, the Black Fleet liberated an entire slave planet deep within Valaran space. The planet, a world of dark skies and harsh terrain, was home to thousands of beings held in chains, forced to serve the Empire. Instead of launching a brutal assault, the fleet used their control of supply routes and their new intelligence to block reinforcements and shut down communications. Without support or supplies, the Valaran garrison surrendered and the slaves, were freed without a single shot fired. The victory was a symbol of what the fleet stood for, not destruction for its own sake, but liberation and justice. Word of the liberation spread quickly, and soon, alien allies began to emerge from the shadows. Species that had suffered under Velaran rule quietly reached out to Earth, offering ships, intelligence, and warriors ready to join the fight. These unexpected allies strengthened the resolve of the Black Fleet and showed that humanity's stand was more than just a fight for their own survival. It was a beacon of hope for many across the stars. In the darkness of space and the light of newfound friendship, the Black Fleet moved forward, invisible yet unstoppable. The Velarans were no longer just facing Earth's military might. They were facing the will of countless worlds united by the courage of a single planet that refused to bow. The shadows and flame of war had begun to reshape the galaxy, and with each passing day, the promise of freedom burned brighter. The Velaran Empire was pushed to the edge. Cornered by the relentless Black Fleet and the growing coalition of alien allies, their pride and power battered but unbroken, they summoned the largest fleet they had assembled in centuries, a force so massive it darkened the space around Jupiter like a storm ready to unleash devastation. Their goal was clear: crush Earth once and for all, extinguish the spark of rebellion before it could spread further. The galaxy held its breath as these two colossal armadas prepared to clash in the void, near the swirling gas giant whose gravity, wells, and fierce electromagnetic storms created a dangerous battlefield unlike any before. For the Velarans, this was their moment of triumph, but they gravely underestimated the force that had birthed the Black Fleet, the iron will and unyielding resolve of humanity. Earth's defenders, led by Admiral Elias Rain aboard the NXS Revenant, were ready. The Black Fleet, fully powered and reinforced by allies who had come to believe in the cause, moved with precision and purpose, using the chaotic environment of Jupiter's orbit to their advantage. The gravity wells disrupted Velaran formations, and the storms interfered with their sensors, turning what should have been a simple battlefield into a deadly maze for the Empire's forces. The battle erupted with brutal intensity. Laser fire streaked across space, engines flared as ships darted and dodged in a deadly dance, and colossal explosions tore through the darkness, casting fleeting light on the endless war above. It was a fight of strength and strategy, endurance and heart, brutal in its destruction yet beautiful in the courage displayed by those who fought for their home and their future. As the battle raged, Rain made a bold decision. Leaving the safety of the Revenant, he led a strike team aboard small assault vessels to board the Velaran flagship. Amid the chaos, they infiltrated the enemy ship, navigating cold, metallic corridors, filled with hostile troops and automated defenses. The confrontation between Rain and the Velaran commander was tense and symbolic, the clash of two wills, one forged in conquest, the other in survival and hope. Their exchange was fierce but measured, a battle of minds and resolve as much as weapons. Meanwhile, the tide of battle shifted. The combined forces of the Black Fleet and their alien allies, fighting with a unity never before seen, pushed the Velaran fleet back from the edges of Earth's orbit. The Velaran Emperor, watching the defeat unfold in real time across his command bridge, made a decision that stunned the galaxy. A broadcast echoed through every channel, every ship, and every world, a call for retreat. It was a moment that marked not just the end of a battle, but the beginning of a new era. Earth was no longer a distant backwater, a small planet barely noticed by the great powers of the galaxy. It had risen through fire and shadow, through sacrifice and courage, to become a symbol of hope and strength. Humanity had proven that even in the darkest hours, when all seems lost, the human spirit can shine brightest, capable of turning the tide against overwhelming odds. As the Velaran fleet withdrew, the stars seemed to themselves acknowledge the change. The war was not over, but Earth had won its reckoning, and the story of the Black Fleet and its defenders would be remembered for generations as the moment when humanity stepped into the light of the galaxy, not as victims, but as victors, and leaders of a new future.